From the studios of Staten Island Community Television, you're watching In the Bleachers, the TV show for the world's most passionate sports fans. Hello, everyone. I'm Jaime Hixson. Usually you see me here with Hector Bosa. He's running a little late right now, so hopefully he'll be joining us within the next few minutes. Knowing them, they're probably stuck in traffic right now. And since this is Thanksgiving week, traffic has gotten a little bit more dubious, if you will. Before we start, I just want to give a special happy Thanksgiving wish to all of the viewers out there right now. And I'd also like to give a happy Thanksgiving wish to my mom and dad, and also to my fiancée Jennifer, and to each of our respective families as well. We certainly hope that you have a very safe and healthy Thanksgiving day and weekend, of course. And we also hope that you get a chance to spend it with all of those that you love and care about. So with that said, let me get started a little bit before Hector makes his way in for a few. Well, as you could probably see, I've got my Giants gear on. This is only the second time that I'm celebrating a Giants victory this year against the 8 losses that they've had, because quite frankly, the team has been dreadful. But at least you can give them some credit for not quitting this season, as you could see from the Giants and Jets helmets right there. Yesterday was not a pretty sight. Let's face facts. The offense was totally non-existent. There was only one touchdown scored in the entire game. But something happened in yesterday's game that has not happened in the previous, in 8 of the previous 9 games. And that's the fact that the Giants actually played some defense. They rushed the quarterback. They made Alex Smith do some things that he was not accustomed to doing. More importantly, they forced him into making 3 turnovers in yesterday's game, one of which unfortunately got called back because of a penalty. But just a wonderful job by the Giant defense to win this game yesterday. Now they have to get ready for the Redskins on 3 days of rest, because they're going to be playing the Skins on Thanksgiving evening as part of a triple header, if you will, of Thanksgiving action. The first game is going to be Vikings and Lions. The second game is going to feature, I think, the Chargers going up against the Cowboys. And the third game is going to be the Giant game. Of course, the Jets had the weekend off. They had their bye. Now let's see if they can come back from that 10 days worth of rest ready to go for the Carolina game, which is going to be next Sunday. These last 6 games, believe it or not, are a real test for the Jets. As far as what has gone on with them this season, who saw them being the better team than the Giants this year? I mean, granted, it's not really anything to crow about because the Jets have a 4-6 record, but when you think about it, they've really surprised a lot of people. 1, with the type of defense that they've played, and 2, with their spirit. Granted, they're really short-handed on a lot of the skill positions. Quarterback, running back, receiver, and also on the offensive line. But at least they've been able to get a little bit of help from Austin Seferian-Jenkins at the tight end spot. And also, they've even gotten some help from their X factor, if you will, and that's their receiving core, which has been Robbie Anderson and also the former Seahawk Jermaine Kearse. But let's see what the Jets can do when they go up against a Carolina team that, quite frankly, is fighting for their playoff lives right now. And just last night, the Eagles showed why they really are the best team in the NFC right now, if not the entire NFL. The Eagles just made complete work of the Cowboys last night. And you consider that their place kicker got knocked out of the game because of a possible concussion. The Eagles wound up blowing out the Cowboys, not only with a running game and a terrific game from Carson Wentz once again, but they had to go for 2-point conversions on their last, I'd say, 4 or 5 touchdowns. And their offense was really, really lethal yesterday. They got a great job from their running game, which now consists of LeGarrette Blount and also the other guy that they have. Unfortunately, his name escapes me. But yesterday was just an outstanding effort by the Eagles, and something tells me that this could be their Eastern Division to win right now. And when you think about it, the rest of the schedule is not necessarily that hard for them. They have one more game each with the Redskins, Cowboys, and Giants the last 6 games of the season. And if they play their cards right, they could probably get themselves a number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. And just as we speak, Mr. Bosa finally got himself out of traffic and into the studio.
You know what happened, ladies and gentlemen? One of the best women that I have
will
today.
You stop with this women crap?
You,
there is no women.
And do you think
there are no women?
There are plenty of women.
There are no women.
There are plenty
Stop
of women
making
out there
up
in the
stories.
World. What do you mean? Wait a minute.
You're making up stories again.
Hold it.
Why are you doing this?
Is Rosanna Robertson a woman or not?
Don't cover him.
Thank you very much. I said
don't
there's plenty
cover
of
for
women
him.
out there.
Don't
That's
cover
all
for
I'm
him.
saying. And secondly, do you think management missed me?
Hardly.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised because I wanted to wish him a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, Jesus, you know. But there was
you was only late because you was picking up Rosanna from school. You lying.
No, there was more
doofus.
There was more than that, ladies and gentlemen.
There was nothing else other than that, and you freaking know it.
She goes to college. I pick up the college women.
You picked up Rosanna, and that was it.
I pick up everybody there.
You don't pick up nobody.
Yeah, you think.
Except bad habits.
And you're damn right it is. That's right.
Namely the bottle.
Do you know what's happening to management now? The Dallas Cowboys management.
Oh, brother.
Did you hear what
That's another
happened
thing. Did you hear
with
or
Roger
see?
Goodell?
Yeah. That's another thing. Unfortunately, there is a more and more of a really big feud going on between Roger Goodell and Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Specifically, the fact that Jerry Jones is still pissed off because Ezekiel Elliott is on suspension. Now he's trying to sue the NFL, which I think is a waste of his valuable time, if you ask me. That's number one.
You know, and the second thing is it's about contracts, renewing contracts.
Yeah.
And
from what I understand, the NFL wants to renew Roger Goodell's deal.
The Phillies management or owner wants to renew his contract by the end of December. But ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Jones, the great Jerry Jones, the one that seems to me like Vincent Kennedy McMahon and all
those are two guys that have a lot in common.
What's the other guy from the LA Clippers?
Oh, you mean Steve Ballmer?
Mark Cuban. He
owns the Mavericks, Hector.
Excuse me. I had a lot to drink, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize.
I'm sure you did.
And
you need to stop with that.
Do you know why I have a 4-pack and I'm losing weight? It's because I have a great diet called women and drinking.
Dude, enough.
Okay.
Stop it.
What?
There are no women.
Look at that. Midnight Blue. Look at that. That's right. She blue. Okay. You know,
we apologize for the technical difficulties, folks. Rosie's on the other side of the glass, and she's still trying to get to know the system.
Please
stand by.
I'm trying to know this damn system too. Good God, you know,
you have to try and get the graphic out if you can.
Yes, I'm trying. I'm actually trying to get on. How do you? Yeah, you do this. You do that.
I'll tell you what.
I'm trying to get on Facebook Live for a minute.
I'll tell you what. While this is going on, We're going to
tell you.
continue. We're going to pick up where we left off,
You
first and foremost.
Hey, you want to go down the line, or do you want to talk about the Jets and the Giants first?
Let's talk about the Jets and the Giants
because
first.
the Giants pulled off a great victory that nobody knew that they were going to pull it off.
Yeah, not only did the Giants win yesterday, but that game only proved the Chiefs have a lot of problems. Namely,
the Jets were that good too.
No,
I mean, you got to give the
actually
Jets
well, to be honest with you, the Chiefs got major issues. They can't protect the football all of a sudden, and they suddenly stopped running the ball, and I have no idea why, especially considering Kareem Hunt was doing great the first 5 or 6 games of the season. Now all of a sudden, he's not getting the ball as much anymore, and he was non-existent yesterday.
This is so professional, but I just want to get things right because in case I say something wrong, at least somebody else has it. Okay. Yeah, I think we got to move this way. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're here on Facebook Live, and as you can see, the great one is back on talking sports.
And that's another thing.
Women.
Not only are we live on Facebook, but you can also see reruns of past shows on our Facebook page that the Bleachers has. You can also see us on YouTube and Twitter, and you can also contact us on Instagram and Snapchat. And we mentioned that Rosanna Robertson's on the other side of the glass right now. She just burst into the control room after a hard day at school.
Yeah.
She's back at CSI, studying hard for her degree, making something of her life.
Can we talk about that too?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Rosanna
because
Robertson,
Rosie has been
the Facebook queen.
She went from being the Facebook queen to the queen of the classroom.
Yeah, the Facebook game queen decided to go, enough with the games. Now I will pester Hector. And
somebody has to pester you.
I have more women in your fingers.
I don't want to hear about these bogus stories of yours.
They are not
there
stories.
Are no women.
Yes, please. But anyway,
it's all in your head.
Before they say we're not talking about sports, let's talk about sports. Hey, listen. Giants played a heck of a game.
They played a heck of a defensive game. Offensively, they were pitiful.
Eli Manning gave a great speech to them, telling them to pick up their pants and show their cojones.
Well, it's about time that he did something because he's been a little bit lackadaisical as far as trying to create a spark in the locker room. But this time, he did exactly what a 13 to 14-year veteran is supposed to do, and that's create a spark in the locker room going into the second half. The numbers didn't show it, but he did just enough to lead the team to victory.
You know why I like being live on Facebook and Twitter and all that? Because it shows what I did wrong and what I didn't do. So in case I need it, you got it, ladies and gentlemen.
By the way, folks, we're also taking some phone calls tonight.
Yeah, for a change.
718-727-0143. As you can see right there on the screen.
So if Bambi decides to call, that would be great.
First of all, Bambi is a cartoon character. How is Bambi going to call you?
Oh, don't worry. Don't worry. Bambi should call. That would be great. So I can shut this guy's mouth off.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, I don't understand.
No, I don't understand
why
you.
Why are you so angry?
Why are you always making up stories about yourself?
Wait a minute. Why are you tranquilo like in New Japan? The guy says tranquilo. Calm down. There's nothing to go about. Calm down.
If for once in your boring existence, will you stop with these bogus stories?
No, they're not stories.
They're bogus stories. No one likes you.
Look at this. Yeah, I'm surprised they like you. With that attitude. With New England at 8-2.
It's best that we probably recap the other games first before we get to the records because there was a lot of action that wound up taking place yesterday.
Somebody died too.
Yeah, unfortunately, somebody passed away the beginning of, in the wee hours of the morning, and that was the former Ohio State star, which was, that's actually our friend Coach John, who's about to do his soccer show in the next few moments. It's a Staten Island Soccer Report.
Hey, John, come on in.
Come on in,
Come
Coach.
on in. This isn't a real sports show, but come on in anyway. Come on in.
Our
Come
dear
on in,
friend
come on.
John Contaduca, who also has a very special guest of his on his show. Come on in, Coach.
This is disrupting the show. The NWO is coming back, ladies and
All
gentlemen.
right, we're gonna just give you guys a shout out. Great job as always.
Thank you.
Yeah,
both of you
for
guys.
the older guys, right?
Fantastic,
For ones that
fantastic.
like to do the old shtick.
Give some real football, some props. Soccer.
Yeah, give me some
All right,
props.
all right,
What's
all right.
going on with soccer?
Well-
The Bulls.
Well,
Jesus,
sure,
the
the Red Bulls,
The
you
I'm
Red
sure you
Bulls.
guys are gonna cover the MLS playoffs.
No, you can do
resume,
it. You can-
resume
The
tomorrow night.
the semifinals are going on right now. If I'm not mistaken, it's Seattle that's in one of the semifinals, correct?
Seattle, we got Toronto versus right.
Columbus
And Columbus
Toronto.
playing Toronto in the East.
Right.
And tell me, what's the big scoop that's out there in soccer right now?
Well,
what's the big
The
scoop?
biggest thing is the Italians did not qualify for the World Cup. I mean, that's the biggest news that I think is going on right now in soccer. Right.
Oh, well, the U.S. Nobody figures for the
Right.
U.S. to
Well,
get
that's what I
in
said.
there.
I
I
think
mean,
it's
God's
the-
sakes, it's only
That's
the
like
U.S.
that's like having a slice of pizza without the cheese.
It's a cheese.
All right,
And
guys.
while United States and Italy are missing next year's World Cup,
And-
countries like Tunisia and Iceland, which had a really good run in the European Championships
We actually
not too
know
long
about
ago,
soccer, too,
are
but
going to make
we
next
just
year's
don't act
tournament.
like we do. But so the big three are Brazil, Germany, and who else? And
You got
France.
France, right?
And
Yeah.
Spain.
And Spain. Why do you think these guys are always the top four, the top three? What is it about these?
Well, they got the
guys?
program. They got it right. They got the program right. From the bottom up. That's why they're always
Got
up there.
good leagues.
Yeah.
They got a lot of players, so they young kids build up and they continue.
Like
to have-
Ronaldo and all
Yes.
them, because there's always a special player out there. Ronaldo Jr., whatever they want to call
All
him.
right, guys, we're
It's
gonna
tough.
bounce over
Okay,
to the
guys.
soccer show.
Thank you.
Don't
job.
forget
Thank
to
you so
watch
much.
them. I know this is breaking the fourth wall. Is it? Breaking kayfabe.
Breaking kayfabe, like in wrestling,
Kayfabe.
yeah. But hey, whatever it takes.
Yeah, whatever it takes to have bloody fun around here. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? But you're right. Now, do the Giants fire their line? Do they fire their?
If you mean, do they
line
fire
coach?
their head coach and their general manager?
Do they fire their general
Well,
manager? The line coach, even the line coach. Do you get rid of the coaches? and
If they're
start
going to do that,
doing
it could be after the season ends. But I do know one guy who should be on the chopping block. It's the general manager, Jerry Reese.
Oh,
I mean, for every questionable move that he's made, he's had a couple of decent moves, but not once have I seen him sign a major superstar as a free agent, which is really, really telling. Especially when you consider that this is the media market of the country. You would want to
Well-
think that major stars out there would want to play here in the New York area.
Yeah, but it's not like before.
It's not like
It's
before.
not like before because of all the expansions, ESPN. You got 320 channels, and it's not like before where the small markets never got the television, and only the big markets like LA, New York, you blossomed. You were the king of all places. Now you got Cleveland with great players that you never heard of before, but now LeBron James is coming out of nowhere. It's because of TV. But let me go down the list for you because I want to know what you think of these guys.
Well-
because we don't have that much time.
All right,
And
let's
you
go.
want
Let's
to-
go. You know what? I think from a little bit of the feedback that we're getting, I think we might have a phone call, right, Ro? All right,
Yeah.
let's quickly go to the phones first.
Yeah,
Hello, you're in the
please,
bleachers.
because we actually have a lot. Oh, we don't have a call. Okay, no problem.
Oh,
So,
okay.
we dropped the call, but
Unfortunately, the call got dropped.
Let's
So let's
go-
go,
let's go-
one by one.
let's go. AFC New England Patriots 8-2. What do you think?
Well, just yesterday, they had a game in Mexico City against the Raiders. And once again, the Patriots showed why they're the best team in the AFC right now as they went through a Raider team that's having a lot of problems.
I wonder if they went through that big wall that we're supposed to build.
What wall? The only wall that's being put up right now is the wall that's blocking the Raiders' path to the playoffs because they're having a lot of problems right now. They suddenly cannot score any points. They're having major problems taking care of the football. The defense has looked really, really vulnerable lately.
Buffalo 5-5.
And Buffalo, I don't know what people saw in Buffalo at the start of the year, but look what happened.
Is that proper English, saw, or is it seen?
Everybody thought that Buffalo would be the trendy pick to make the playoffs this year, but then they ran into San Diego and they had their heads handed to them. They made a quarterback change, going to Nathan Peterman, who's a rookie. He threw 5 interceptions in the first half. And what happens? They go back to Tyrod Taylor, too little, too late. They wound up getting blown out by 20 by the Chargers.
Why did they change the quarterback?
Because Tyrod Taylor is just not that great. He doesn't sustain drives. He doesn't do anything in the red zone. His accuracy is very, very poor.
Miami 4-6.
This is a team that basically is trying to tread water as much as possible right now. And the Dolphins just yesterday had their makeup game. They wound up having their makeup game with Tampa from opening week of the season because of the hurricane. And as it turns out, the Dolphins, once again, with their backup quarterback, Matt Moore, because Jay Cutler wound up suffering a concussion, Matt Moore could do nothing, and as it turns out, the Dolphins wound up falling by 10. Now they've got major quarterback problems again, so these last 6 games are going to be really pivotal for them.
Oh, wow. No, I was just watching.
And then you have the Jets, who had the weekend off.
Yeah.
They have Carolina next week. These last 6 games, if they're serious about being looked at as a playoff contender, the Carolina game is going to be really big for them next week.
Okay, we got Jacksonville 7-3, and this is the South.
How did Jacksonville take first place in the South Division? How, you might ask? Number 1, Leonard Fournette has been great. Number 2, Blake Bortles has taken care of the football. He's been more assertive on offense. And 3, the defense has played terrific. And yesterday, the Jaguars wound up playing Cleveland. They played at Cleveland in a little bit of a snowstorm. They wound up winning by 12. Quite frankly, you can look at it in 2 ways. Number 1, they're a product of the schedule. Number 2, they really are that good.
Right.
And number 3, they're a product of a very poor South Division.
Now, Tennessee is 6-4.
Tennessee's dangerous, though, because Marcus Mariota's had a really good season, and he's got a solid running game to back him up. Do not take the Titans lightly.
Houston 4-6.
Houston had such a big win yesterday against Arizona. Now these last 6 games are going to be pivotal for them.
Indianapolis 3-7.
Total disappointment this season. And now that Andrew Luck is gone for the rest of the year, don't expect the Colts to do anything.
Pittsburgh 8-2.
Second best team in the NFC right now. And the Steelers blew out Tennessee over this past Thursday. Right now, they might be the only team standing in the way of the Patriots repeating as the champions.
Baltimore 5-5.
Very, very up and down squad. Yesterday they got a big win at Green Bay, but that's because Brett Hundley was the Packers quarterback. This is strictly a good defensive effort by him.
Cincinnati 4-6.
Cincinnati's been a disappointment this year, and it all falls on the quarterback. And this just reiterates the question, what's going to happen with Marvin Lewis? Is he going to be fired or not?
And you got Cleveland Browns at 0-10.
Horrible.
And they need a quarterback.
They need a lot of things.
No, but you can't get a lot of
things. They need a quarterback?
But if you had to pick one player, is it
draft as a quarterback?
To draft, because you know they're going to be in the low.
The problem is they've been drafting quarterbacks for so many years, and none of these guys have panned out. The other problem is I don't see their offensive line doing anything to try and protect him, and where is the running game? You have to have a good running game and a good offensive line to try and complement him.
In the West, 6-4. The West 6-4, Kansas City Chiefs.
They're slumping. They're slumping really, really badly right now. They've gone from 5-0 to start the year to losing 4 of their last 5, and they're now they're basically breaking even, and quite frankly, I don't take them seriously as a contender right now.
The L.A. Chargers 4-6. I wish there was Rams again.
I wish the Chargers were back in San Diego, to be honest
San Diego
with you.
Chargers and the L.A. Rams.
Because how much longer are they going to continue this charade that they're going to be that second football team in Los Angeles to try and complement the Rams? But football-wise, not that great. I mean, they still have Phillip Rivers at quarterback, and their running game is solid at best. They've actually played well since their 0-4 start, but still think they have a long way to go. And also, I think that defensively, they're not bad. They have a good pair of linebackers, but I still think they need to shore up the receiving spot. And also, look to the future at quarterback, too, because Phillip Rivers is not getting any younger. He's in his 14th season. Maybe it's time to get someone in the draft.
Yeah, but you've just explained to me that in the draft you may not get a good quarterback because
there are good quarterbacks out there.
Look at the Cleveland Browns. They always get the quarterback, and they're supposed to be
They
great.
need to get somebody that's going to be good for their system. The question is, what is the system that the Browns are going to run? We don't know that yet.
You know, okay, you got the Oakland Raiders at 4-6.
Boy, did the Raiders embarrass themselves. Playing a home game in Mexico City, they wound up having their heads handed to them by the Patriots. The Raiders
there's a lot of women there, too. Love the women over there.
Well, it depends on which women you're talking about. Are you talking about Salma Hayek or Sofia Vergara, or are you talking about somebody else?
I'm talking about all the women. All of them.
None of which like you.
No, they all love me.
No, they don't.
They don't like you.
No, they don't like you.
They don't like you.
They don't like you because you a knucklehead.
They don't like you because you.
And I already got a woman that likes me. I ain't worried about nobody else.
How much did you have to pay her? Did you drug her? Denver at 3-7.
I don't resort to your level if that's what you're asking.
Denver at 3-7.
Denver is a colossal disappointment. Their quarterback problems are showing, and it's obvious that neither Paxton Lynch nor Trevor Siemian nor the kid from Arizona State, which is Brock Osweiler, are the answer. I mean, granted, Lynch has only played 1 or 2 games, but they need a quarterback upgrade in the worst way.
Philly, now we're talking about the East. Philly,
the NFC
8-1.
right now. They're 9-1 right now.
They're 9-1. They're playing the Dallas Cowboys today.
Actually, they played them last night.
Oh, okay.
I just told
Look
you
at
that they played them last night.
Look at that. 5-4, the Dallas Cowboys.
And now the Cowboys are a 500 team after last night.
Now tell me, what's going on with Philly and Dallas?
Philly's the best team in the NFC. They have the best passing game. They've got the best running game. They've got the best defense. Also, as far as the Cowboys are concerned, not having Ezekiel Elliott is going to hurt them badly.
Now,
he's suspended for another 4 games, and by the time he gets back, the next to last game of the season, it might be too late.
For who? For Dallas?
For Dallas.
For Dallas. You know what?
I think this is Philly's Eastern Division to win.
Now, it would be, if things go right, you would see Philly versus New England, correct?
Possibly. Although Philadelphia has to prove that they can win a playoff game first. Their playoff history is really checkered.
Now, just out of curiosity, if they would have played the Patriots, who would win right now?
The Patriots would.
Okay. That's all I want to know. Hey, I got to know things. Washington at 4-5.
Make that 4-6 now,
4-6.
as they wound up losing yesterday. And Washington's another team that's in trouble right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't read right now.
Washington had a 15-point lead in New Orleans and completely self-destructed. And it was 2 major breakdowns defensively, especially inside their own territory, that wound up costing them the game, and they wound up losing in overtime. Washington's in serious trouble.
Giants 2-8.
Right now, these last 6 games are window dressing for them. If they can show the same type of fight that they had yesterday, maybe they might be able to feel good about themselves going into the offseason. It's not going to solve their problems, though. They still need a lot of help.
Now, going back to the South, which is New Orleans, the New Orleans Saints, 8-2. Another team that's digging up the.
They've gone from losing 2 in a row to winning 8 in a row because Drew Brees is still great in spite of the fact that he's 38 years of age.
Age doesn't make a difference. I mean,
And
I
Tom
don't wanna
Brady's
make
40.
it-
He looks 25 years younger.
I don't know why they make a big deal. If you're in shape and you can do it, you know what?
Drew Brees is outstanding. He's outstanding because he's still able to see the ball well. He's got great zip on the ball still. And he's working with a really good receiving core and running game that's been helping to mix things up on the offense.
Carolina 7-3.
Be careful with Carolina, though. Just because they're in second place doesn't mean you should count them out. Even in spite of the fact that Cam Newton has had major behavioral issues, I still think they can try and pull something off at the end. And right now, they would be one of the wild cards.
Atlanta 5-4.
Well, Atlanta's going to be playing tonight in Seattle. This is a big statement game for them. If they win this game, this could set themselves up for the last 6 games.
Tampa 4-6.
Tampa's they've gone from 2-6 to winning their last 2 games, and this is without Jameis Winston at quarterback. They've been winning games with, of all people, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
He's a good quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback.
He's not terrible, but he hasn't necessarily had the greatest career either.
You know, he'll get you to the, he'll get you there to some degree,
Somehow.
And he just because he made one bad pass, that's what ruined him. But Minnesota 8-2. This is the North again.
Probably the 3rd best team in the NFC right now. And they're doing it with defense. They're doing it with a great running game. And Case Keenum, ever since he took over at quarterback, Case Keenum has had the best season of his entire career.
Detroit 6-4.
Detroit's not terrible. I mean, they still have Matthew Stafford, and they have a pretty decent running game to go with it. But they're very hit or miss. I mean, there are moments when Stafford can look lost out there offensively, but then there are other games where he can lead a team down by from a couple of scores and get himself a big victory.
Green Bay at 5-5.
Green Bay is really in deep trouble. Now that Aaron Rodgers is out for the rest of the year, it's painfully obvious that without him, that offense is like a fish out of water.
3-7. Chicago Bears.
No surprise by the Bears. They wound up losing a heartbreaker to the Lions yesterday in the last 3 minutes, and they just don't know how to play from behind.
LA Rams 7-3, and this is in the West.
The Rams wound up losing a tough game to the Vikings in a possible playoff preview, but the last 6 games are going to be big because they still have a meeting with the Seahawks coming up, and the Seahawks played tonight against the Falcons. The Seahawks, who are right behind them, 1 game behind them, do not count them out. This is a team with a lot of proud veterans still left over from their championship year and their second Super Bowl team, and they're going to be looking to try and make a splash the last 6 games.
Seattle 6-3.
Seattle's now 6-3. They're playing tonight. They're still awesome at quarterback. I would like to see them get a little more solidarity at running back, though, because even though Thomas Rawls is okay, it's obvious that they're missing Marshawn Lynch.
Arizona 4-6.
Arizona's a disappointment this year. I mean, no more Carson Palmer. So now they have to work with Drew Stanton at quarterback. You really feel bad for a guy like Larry Fitzgerald, a guy who has had such a tremendous career. He's caught over 1,000 passes with multiple guys at quarterback.
And last but not least,
San Francisco.
That was a surprise because
they had the weekend off, but
thank
now
goodness. Maybe
these
they'll
last 6
charge them.
Maybe now these last 6 games can be window dressing for them.
And that's the end of the day for football. Thank goodness. Here we go. A tennis great has died, ladies and gentlemen.
Unfortunately,
at 96 years old.
This has not been
Charlie Manson died.
the Grim Reaper's on a warpath. I'm telling you. Look at this
Della
guy.
Reese died.
David Cassidy passed away
David
as too.
Cassidy died.
Guess who else passed away?
Della Reese.
Remember the Cosby Show? The guy that played Russell Huxtable, who was Cliff's father.
Oh, he died too.
Russell Huxtable passed away over the weekend. 91
He
years
was
old.
a great Shakespearean actor too.
Yes, he was.
And you know what's funny? We don't expect these guys to die because it's 90, you know, and they looked like they kept themselves in great shape.
You know one interesting thing about that actor? Earl Hyman was the name of the actor in question. He was also one of the voices of the original Thundercats cartoon.
I could believe that. Holy Toledo,
He
what you
was-
can learn here. And we're not talking about sports.
He was a quintessential actor.
Yeah.
Behind the microphone, on stage, where I think he might have won a Tony Award in 1980 or so. And of course, on the Cosby Show, on and off for about 8 years.
But look
he had
at
a
this.
wonderful, wonderful
But
career.
look at this. Tennis great, 96. What's his name again?
Pancho Segura is the man's name. He passed away at age 96. He won 6 U.S. Pro singles titles and doubles titles.
This is in
his
tennis, ladies
career.
and gentlemen. And this is a Hispanic male who, you know, we always hear about the struggles of everyone else. Now the Hispanics are coming for the struggling as well. I mean, everybody's done something in their careers. That's all there's to it. But you know what? You got, look at this. Gold nets 5 goals at Wagner. Turns back Army West Point.
Yeah, let's talk about what's going on in our neck of the
In
woods.
Staten
specifically-
Island,
Yep.
because people want to hear about Staten Island. I don't know one person, not one person that doesn't want to hear about Staten Island sports.
I mean, just the other night, Wagner College.
Oh, we have
Now
a
we
call.
found up. Now we wound up getting a phone call.
Hopefully it'll be a wrestling call, and we'll talk
Hopefully,
about it for 20 minutes.
hopefully it will be anything of substance. Hello,
Yes,
you're in the
anything
bleachers.
of substance.
Hi,
Who's,
Hi there.
who's this?
Bambi.
I told you Bambi would call.
Bambi.
Yes, I told
I
you.
just wanted to say I love seeing you guys back together again.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. You see, I brought her on.
And have a great show.
Thank you.
Thanks. You
Uh-huh.
set this up, didn't you?
I didn't say nothing.
Yes,
Well,
you did. You
course.
little liar.
She called from the house.
Oh, give me a break.
She called from the house and she wanted to see me. She missed me.
Yeah, probably the House of Pain. If you
Yes,
ask
it
me.
was the House of Pain. You're damn right. She was screaming like crazy. But you know what?
Yeah,
ladies
it's your
and
ugly
gentlemen?
face.
No, not my ugly face. Everything else.
No.
Of course, you wasn't there.
Anyway,
But so go ahead. So go ahead.
anyway.
Go ahead.
Let's talk about what's going on in our neck of the woods.
For a change.
Yep. Wagner College is going to be making quite a bit of news in the next couple of days. Over the weekend, their hockey team wound up playing Army.
Oh, jeez.
They played at the skating pavilion down in Tottenville, and they wound up winning the game by here we are.
Okay. Don't worry. We're professionals.
Wagner wound up winning the game 7-6, thanks to a 5-goal game from Noah Gold. So now Wagner's hockey team is 5-5 to start the year.
And you got college swimming. Look at that.
Speaking of Wagner,
Wagner again.
yeah, the
Boy.
swimming and diving team wound up getting 6 top 15 finishes on the third and final day of a tournament called the Frank Elm Invitational, which was held over at Rutgers.
And what is this about high school?
And
What?
I'll get to that in just a
Yeah,
bit,
go
but
ahead. Go ahead.
on the subject of Wagner
Yes.
and CSI basketball are going to be squaring off against each other tonight and tomorrow.
Do you know why that's such a big rivalry?
But, well, for one, it's the two Staten Island schools that are going at it.
Yeah, but that's not the big.
And two,
that's not the big.
it's Division I versus Division III. Plus, they're playing for a really good cause.
And it's because of it's a Catholic high school. It's a Catholic college.
Wagner's not a Catholic
no,
college,
I'm
though.
sorry. It's because of, like you said,
It's a private
apologize.
school against a CUNY school.
It's a private school versus a CUNY school. That's been a big rivalry. I can't even say that damn word right. Rivalry for a very long time.
The rivalry started only in 1979, but they have had yesterday, well, last year, I should say, I did a special episode of the show about the men's game that was held on Grimes Hill. The men won by over 20 points, and they wound up playing against each other for a really, really good cause, and that was for Project Hospitality.
Look at that.
In which
Great.
they tried to donate food to food pantries.
Hey, I'll go there.
So tonight, the women are going to be playing in. The women are going to be playing each other for Project Hospitality at CSI, and then the men play each other on Grimes Hill tomorrow night.
Go see them. Go support them. Mm-hmm. Really, go see them, because Staten Islanders, ladies and gentlemen, we don't really support much, as we can see, but let's support these guys.
Well,
let's support the good
I
causes that
think
are
you'll
out
be
there.
able to support this, and that's more basketball, because they had some action taking place over the weekend, and I saw that Newdorp won 55-43 over Fort Hamilton
Look at
in
that.
Brooklyn.
Fort
That wa-
Hamilton, good
Yep.
team too. Good team.
That was in the that was in boys action, and also Wagner beat Banneker 76-49. Unfortunately, Curtis wound up losing in overtime,
That's a
75-71 to Jefferson, and MSIT actually lost a doubleheader with their JV and varsity. The first team wound up losing 76-64 to Robeson, and the second team wound up losing 77-69 against Wheels.
Look at that.
Now, we do have some good news.
What's the good news?
We're going to have our football team in the football semifinals.
Oh, which ones?
It's going to be Curtis.
All right, come on, Chris. Ho.
As you know, the PSAL semifinal, well, the quarterfinals wound up taking place over the weekend. We had 3 schools in the quarterfinals. Curtis was the one that came away with a big, big victory. I'm going to see if I can get you this this score in just a few moments.
You do that. I'm going to talk about the goals net. 5 goals at Wagner.
I
turns back.
already mentioned
I'm
that.
sorry. Wait a minute.
Genius.
Oh, yeah, the super genius is more like it. The Wagner
More like
College
doofus.
The
Anyway.
Wagner College swimming team and diving team picked up 6.
I
top
mentioned that
50.
as well.
Not the fit swimming team.
Yes, I did.
Now, where were you?
Sitting next to you 2 seconds
where
ago.
was I?
In La La Land.
Oh, okay, fine.
And I'm not talking about the movie.
La La Land. I don't know. What's the name of that song in La La Land?
Anyway,
Okay.
not only did the Curtis varsity blow out their opponent 35-14, the junior varsity won the Island Championship. For the record, Curtis wound up winning 35-14 over South Shore. So Curtis is going to play Lincoln
That's
in
gonna
the
be a good game.
semifinals.
That's going to be a good game.
And Lincoln wound up outscoring Newdorp 41-24. And unfortunately, Tottenville lost this really, really heartbreaking game in the quarterfinals against Midwood. So now it's going to be Curtis and Lincoln in one semifinal, and Midwood's going to play in the other semifinal. So MSIT, by the way, also played in the PSAL Bowl quarterfinals. Unfortunately, they fell to Lehman. So as we speak, it's Curtis and Lincoln for the semifinals. Hopefully, we're going to have a PSAL champion once again. And did I mention that Curtis's junior varsity wound up winning the Island Championship? Curtis wound up winning 28-22 over Tottenville, as it turns out.
Good for them. Good for them. Good for Staten Island. Get some cheer and greatness here,
Yep.
because we need it, ladies and gentlemen.
And in one volleyball note, Susan Wagner was in the girls volleyball semifinals. Unfortunately, they wound up losing to Francis Lewis.
Susan Wagner
In straight sets.
And then the Susan Wagner
Yeah, that's what I
girls
just
round.
mentioned right
It's
there.
a shame that they lost, but you know what?
Still, they're the longest serving, or they're the furthest that Staten Island has gone in the girls' volleyball semifinals,
Well-
or the girls' volleyball tournament for that matter.
You know what? Let's talk a little bit about baseball for a moment because the manager, the Yankee manager, is still up for sale. Who do you want as Yankee manager?
Oh, it's interesting that you mentioned this because some really intriguing candidates interviewed for the job recently, one of which was Aaron Boone,
Yeah,
a guy who's not only working for ESPN right now, but he's already shown that he's been a brilliant baseball analyst
but that's
on television.
But wait a minute, just because
He's
you're
never had any coaching experience or managing experience in baseball
there
before.
has only been one baseball analyst that went to coaching and did pretty good. And I think he was the Toronto manager.
There have been a few of them.
They have had no experience. They were just analysts.
Buck Martinez was one. Larry Durker with the Astros was another. Took them to, I think, 4 division titles in 5 years.
Look at that. Now the candidates.
Of course, Joe Girardi was in the S Network for a short time.
Yeah,
and he won a
but
championship
he was a
with the
player
Yankees.
too. But but there was actually one person that never played baseball. He was an analyst, and then went straight to becoming a manager. Did pretty good too. I forgot his name. I think he was a Toronto manager. But the candidates for the Yankees, who are they?
Aaron Boone, David Cohn, John Flaherty, Rob Thompson, who's worked with the Yankees for over 2 decades.
Hensley Muniz.
That's another name. Remember Hensley Bam Mullins?
Yeah.
Hensley Mullins was a hot prospect with the Yankees back in the 80s, but once he made it to the major league level, he could not hit a curveball. So he went to Japan, led the Japanese leagues in home runs, then retired, came back to the majors, and he's become a successful coach with the Giants.
Whatever happened to the reliever that the Yankees had that he was
Dave Righetti?
No. 80s, 90s. No, actually 2000. And they traded him. He threw 100 mile per hour. And I forgot this guy's name. Oh, wow.
There have been a few of those.
Well, no, the last guy. Who was the last guy besides Chapman?
Well, before that, there was Mariano Rivera.
Okay, and before Mariano, after Mariano.
After Mariano, for about a short time, Dylan Betances was the closer for a bit. And they also had David Robertson.
There was this one guy who was chubby, threw hard, and got traded because then they tried to make him into a
Jabba
star.
Chamberlain, you mean?
Jabba Chamberlain, whatever happened to
He
him?
retired.
Was he the big explosion that everybody thought?
Unfortunately, after he made that big splash with the Yankees, he wound up having a lot of arm problems, and he barely lasted 10 years in the majors with the Yankees and the Indians and the Tigers.
Who do you think the Yankees should get out of the
Who
the people?
should the Yankees
who
get?
do you think? John Flaherty, I think looks good.
John Flaherty would be okay. David Cohn would be interesting. I think it would be great. For
That would be an interesting pick because then he would have to pick a bench coach that knows about hitting because David Cohn knows nothing about hitting, but the X's and O's, you never know.
I would like to see them give Rob Thompson a chance because he's been paying a lot of dues in that organization, and I think it's time for him to get at least the courtesy of an interview.
You know what?
They owe him that much.
It's not like the Knicks where they never give their own an interview. They
Well,
should have
at
gotten
least
Patrick
Patrick Ewing finally got that first head coaching job, and it happens to be his old stomping grounds, his other old stomping grounds,
Yeah,
Georgetown. And so far, Georgetown is off to a pretty decent start.
And Villanova got what's his name too. So
Villanova, of course, has Jay Wright. St. John's, of course, has Chris Mullen, which is off
yeah.
to a pretty good start.
You know what? Basketball is coming hard and heavy now.
And just last night, Golden State was in town. The defending champions had a 22-point halftime lead on the Nets, but then the Nets made things interesting in the third quarter, and the Warriors just survived.
You know what? Okay, here's the detail. In the Eastern Division, you got Boston 15-2. Hit it.
They have a 15-game winning streak. Nothing much to say after that. I mean, they're playing great because they've gotten wonderful play from Kyrie Irving. He now known as the Masked Marvel, especially after he wound up having a broken bone in his cheek. But then he ditched the mask so he could try and play a little bit better. So far, the Celtics are just outstanding. They're playing terrifically. They've gotten great help from Irving. And more importantly, they've gotten great team defense as well.
And let's also say that Eric Lundqvist gets his 63rd shutout of the.
That's in hockey.
That's in
just
hockey.
last night, the Rangers won 3-0 over the Senators.
Great, but you know what? Let's go down the line as quickly as possible. Toronto, 11-5.
Not bad. They've gotten great play from DeMar DeRozan, and also Kyle Lowry has been playing great. Plus, they've gotten some really good support from Serge Ibaka.
Jamie's greatest.
My greatest
basketball.
thorn on my side.
New York Knicks. The New York Knicks, 8-7. Did you expect all this? The hype.
Not even close. So far, they're playing well. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis has been outstanding. He's the reason why the Knicks are over 500 right now, because he's playing out of his mind. He's playing like an all-star right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to make the playoffs.
They're not making the playoffs.
We are going to make the
They're
playoffs.
not making the playoffs after 15 games.
We are going to make the playoffs.
They're not making the playoffs after 15 games.
We have to make the playoffs. Damn it, we have to make the playoffs.
They're not making the playoffs after 15 games.
So Boston, we can't say Boston's not going to make the playoffs either?
Well, we're definitely not going to say that they're
Ivan.
going to win 70 games.
I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that the Knicks are making the playoffs.
They're not making the playoffs.
Philly, 8-7 also.
They're 8-7 because Ben Simmons has played great basketball, and this in spite of the fact that Markelle Fultz has been hurt. And also Joel Embiid has been outstanding.
We already talked about Brooklyn at 6-10. The Southeastern Division, Washington 9-7.
Treading water right now, but John Wall's playing well.
8-8. Orlando Magic.
They broke even, to be honest with you. They broke even, and right now it's been Aaron Gordon and Elfrid Payton that have been saving things for the Magic.
Miami 7-9.
Miami's got a lot of young players that are going to be going through some bumps on the road.
Charlotte 6-9.
A disappointment.
Atlanta 3-13. Oh God.
Woeful.
The Central Division, Detroit 11-5.
Really dangerous in the Central. They've gotten great play from Andre Drummond.
Cleveland 9-7.
Cleveland's starting to right themselves just a little bit.
Milwaukee.
And just last week, LeBron James wound up getting into a little bit of an altercation. He tried to intimidate Frank Ntilikina.
And I'll tell you something.
But then the center for the Knicks wound up putting him in his place.
Cantor.
Enes Kanter wound up putting him in his place.
Let me tell you something. Here's what they do with LeBron James that they didn't do with Jordan and so forth. Remember, in the league, when you throw that first punch, you're supposed to be automatically ejected. Look at the stars. When they throw the first punch, they will not get ejected. Such as LeBron James.
If it's a blatant punch, they have to get ejected.
They will not, because Michael Jordan was in the same situation and they never ejected him and he threw the damn punch.
I think there was that one time where he wound up getting into a fight with Reggie Miller and he got suspended at least 1 or 2 games.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he
No,
did.
Jordan never got suspended.
I remember him getting suspended from a game.
You're supposed to get ejected from the game at that point.
He was suspended from a game and they wound up losing to the Knicks without him. I remember that very vividly. It was 25 years ago.
Milwaukee 8-7.
Basically treading water right now, and the only reason why they're 1 game over 500 is because Giannis Antetokounmpo has been great.
Indiana 9-8.
Playing okay so far, better than people thought they would, because Victor Oladipo has played well as also.
Chicago 3-11.
They're basically Chicago's horrible. Let's face facts. They've got some decent young players, but other than that, they have no direction going for themselves right now.
Is this Fight the Power?
Actually, this is straight out of Compton.
Oh, that's right. Straight out of Staten Island. Oh, oops. I can't do that. South and West Division. Houston 13-4.
One of the 2 best teams in the West right now, and this despite the fact that Chris Paul has missed a lot of time because of injury. James Harden's been outstanding.
San Antonio 10-6. He's been lighting them up too.
San Antonio won a big game recently at home against Oklahoma, overcoming a 20-point deficit to win. This just goes to show you, even with or without Kawhi Leonard, they still have enough good role players to try and pick up the slack.
New Orleans 8-8, and Memphis 7-8, and Dallas 3-14. What do you got to say about those?
New
teams?
Orleans has basically broken even, but that's because their two big men have busted their tails out there. Also, Memphis, I see a bad moon rising for them because with Marc Gasol hurt and also Mike Conley Jr. Not being able to stay healthy for an entire time, the Grizzlies are going to have problems. Dallas is horrendous.
Let me run these down. Minnesota 10-6, Denver 9-6, Portland 9-7, Oklahoma City 7-8, Utah 7-10. And the Pacific, Golden State 13-4, Phoenix 7-11, LA Lakers 6-10, LA Clippers 5-10, Sacramento 4-12.
LeVar Ball just had a triple-double last night, but there's been some criticism of him maybe deserting his teammates because of a pushing and shoving match that took place in the Lakers' most recent game.
Now, do you want to talk about, because we only got about 2 minutes left, college football? Tell me about that.
Well, Alabama basically kept their number one spot after making quick work of Mercer University. Now they've got the Iron Bowl with Auburn coming up. If they beat Auburn, then Alabama's playing Georgia for the Southeastern Conference title, and if they win that, they'll be in the college football playoff. Otherwise, Miami continues to play great. They've gotten wonderful play from quarterback, and they've got team speed that is just taking you back to the good old days of the 80s and 90s when they won their 3 out of their 4 national titles. Also, Oklahoma is not far out of the picture for the national title race. Wisconsin needs to be in the conversation. They've done everything that's been asked of them. All they have left is Minnesota. If they beat Minnesota for the Golden Axe, they can play Ohio State for the Big Ten title. And if they win that, who knows? Maybe they'll be in that college football playoff. As far as hockey is concerned, the Rangers got a big win last night against the Ottawa Senators, so they've basically broken even. The Islanders got a big road victory in Tampa. Unfortunately, the Devils had their heads handed to them by the Winnipeg Jets. But right now, looks like things are starting to look up for the Rangers. They've gotten more scoring. Their power play, well, their penalty kill specifically has been much better, especially after last night when they killed a 5-minute major. So far, after about 20 games this season, the Rangers have, let's put it this way, they've broken even. Let's see what they can do the second quarter of the year.
Now, I was just reading about something that Peter Davidson on NSL made a comment, and it's funny, you know. What is it that he said? He said...
Well, he basically told it like it is when it comes to his hometown.
Yeah, Peter Davidson bashes Staten Island at home to racist cop firefighters during televised skit. Hey, there's racism everywhere.
It's not just here.
It's in sports. It's everywhere. Wherever they're trying not to be, but racism is everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry to say, and for those that don't know,
even in the most unlikely of places will you find some of the ugliest racism. I remember a few years ago.
Even people telling jokes about your nationality and so forth. If you talk about a person's nationality, I think a joke is a joke, and sometimes it's a bad joke.
Yeah. I mean, just not too long ago, I was watching this video on YouTube about one of the soccer stars, Thierry Henry. He literally walked off the field of a match in Germany because he was getting pelleted with racist remarks.
Do you remember this song?
Yeah, I remember this song.
So
with that said,
should we say Happy Thanksgiving to the people
we should.
that work here?
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
I like to say the Happy Thanksgiving to the volunteers here, to the staffers here, to management here, to everyone that puts the effort here at CTV and everywhere else for all the good cops and firemen and all the people that are not racist and so forth. Thank you very much. We all appreciate it because it's not the skin is not my sin. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I am Hector Bosa, the hardest bad 60s man on Cable Access TV, and this is Jaime Hixson going at it. Jamie, take it away. Happy Thanksgiving.
For everyone that's here, I'm Jamie.
I'm Hector.
Thanks to Rosie on the other side of the glass, and thanks to you guys for watching at home. We hope you have an awesome Thanksgiving weekend.
In the bleachers.
Goodbye, everyone.
The bunch is here to make this clear. A brand new sound getting all up in your ear. Yeah.